we and people in our world now are talking about the lack of what we call third spaces. You heard this one?
Third spaces.
Yeah. Home is the first space, work is the second space. Third spaces, where do you get to go hang out?
Okay.
We as a society, we don't have good places for people to hang,
True.
to just show up and visit with people.
Right. This episode of Grounded in Maine is sponsored by ESG Review. ESG Review magazine is published quarterly in February, May, August, and November, and is available for free in print and digital formats. ESG Review is devoted to environmental, social, and governance strategies, technologies, and investments. ESGreview.net is updated every Wednesday with 8 new stories and is home to feature articles, news items, and more. Visit esgreview.net to stay informed and help us spark the collaboration and awareness needed to develop sustainable economies and communities around the world.
There's a place where there's no trouble, no more pain, no more struggle.
Grounded in Maine podcast is an open conversation about how we show up for the world. I started this podcast out of a desire to learn new ways to be sustainable because the word sustainability is big. It can be overwhelming, and I just wanted to learn, different ways to try to be part of the solution and not feel like it's too late. So I'm talking to people who are doing different things and learning so much. I hope you are too. Hi there. Thank you so much for listening to Grounded in Maine today. My name is Amy, and my guest today is Annamarie Pluhar. And Annamarie she's an author, and her business is also called, so both of them are called Sharing Housing. And so this is, it's a little bit different than the usual conversation, but that's the point. And so we were talking about this before we started recording, but this is actually something that I'm personally looking into. So I am very, very excited about this. Thank you so much for being here, Annamarie. Very excited about this.
I'm delighted to be here. It's
Yay.
great. I look forward to this.
So, sharing housing. I know on your guest form you said shared housing is a way to live sustainably, happily, and with greater ease. And that is that's the dream, man. That's what I want. So I'm so glad that you said that, and I'm so glad that you're here. I can't even this is something that is just like I said, it's a current thing for me.
Mhm.
So sharing housing. Um, what is your what's your purpose with this? What is this all about?
So what this is all about, it's been an interesting little journey, because I didn't it just sort of started with a germ of an idea. I'll get back to that in a minute. But at this point, what this is about is the fact that there are so many people in our country who can't afford their housing, who are lonely, who are overwhelmed with all of the tasks of living, who are worried about living sustainably. And there's like this really easy, ha solution. I often say to people, I'm just trying to convince people to live together. Easy to say,
Right.
complex to do.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's just kind of a mission for me, a sense that the universe is asking me to do this work here.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. Okay. And so my next question, how did you get here?
Yes, that's like why, huh? Okay, so I am of a certain age. When we were in college, I lived in shared housing that the school actually owned. Okay, very interesting. So we lived in the townhouse sophomore year, and I lived, and junior year I lived in townhouses with four classmates, four friends. And the school took care of the rent and the utilities and all of that. But we had to deal with food, shopping, cooking for ourselves, and the telephone bill,
Mm-hmm.
pre cell
Right.
phones. Um, And I'd already been living on my own before I went to college, so it wasn't so new for me. But then, of course, graduated. li- I actually didn't live in shared housing. I was with a boyfriend for a while, went to graduate school. And after graduate school, I was like, okay, where am I going to live now? And I'm like, I don't like to live alone. I don't like to spend all that money. And I convinced two friends to come and live with me in what was a 4-bedroom apartment that I adored.
Mm,
Um, did not do a great job of selecting those two people, and they didn't like each other very much about 4 or 5 months in. And they both moved out. But then I just stayed in that apartment, and I lived in that apartment for 8 years in my 30s. And I had various different housemates
mhm.
in that apartment. When I finally left that apartment for a relationship, I moved south, which is to say I was in the Boston area and I moved to the Washington, D.C. area. And when that relationship broke up, I moved in with a single mom and her 4-year-old son, who I knew through my community, and she needed a housemate.
Genius.
And then a year later, or a year and a half later, her boyfriend came back from being overseas and he came back, and I'm like, okay, time for me to move. What am I going to do now? And I was like, well, yeah, I don't want to spend all that money to live by myself. And the universe wasn't kind of giving me an obvious person to live with.
Mm,
And I went, oh, wait, I buy the house, I get the housemates.
mm-hmm,
I bought a 4-bedroom fixer-upper in Silver Spring, Maryland,
mm-hmm.
on purpose to have housemates. And I lived in that house for 10 years. And it was while I was living in that house that my friend Deb asked me, or we were talking on the phone, and she was complaining about her finances. And I said, well, you have an asset, use it. And she said, what are you talking about? And I said, rent a room in your house. And she did something like, I don't know how to do that. And I did something like, well, I do. And she was like, oh, right. Of course. Would you coach me? And that went ding, ding, ding in my
Right.
brain. And we got on. I said, of course, I'll coach you. Da, da, da. And I got off the phone and I thought about it. The internet was very baby,
Mm.
but I did a little bit of searching and I didn't see a whole lot. And I was like, maybe I should write a book. And so the next day, I was on a bus and I had a laptop and I spent 2 hours writing the outline for the book. And it is basically the same book as that outline. I just did a brain dump. And the book is about selecting somebody you can live with.
Excellent.
Okay, it's the process. And so what I was really documenting was a process that I developed over those years of living in shared housing and interviewing that made me feel safe, that felt efficient and all of that. But I okay, so I didn't write the book right away. I don't know how many years it was, but it was after I moved to Vermont, where I live now, and had bought the house I'm living in now, that there was a day I was walking from the bed to the bathroom in the morning, and it was like, are you ever going to do that project? And I was like, oh. And I can't say that I was talking, I don't know. It was, and I started thinking about it, and I was like, oh, if I don't do this, it will be a deathbed regret.
Mm.
Very clear. Okay.
Yeah.
And then that afternoon, I was at a networking event for businesswomen, solopreneurs kind of thing. And I was chatting with two people I was getting to know. And one of them said, guess what? I'm writing a book. And, oh, that's cool. We said, what do you da da da? Oh, da da da. And then the other person said, hey, I'm writing a book. Da 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 da. We talked about that. And I went, wait, I'm writing a book. And the one of those
You can't really
people,
give any other answer than that at that point. Like,
well,
I mean,
it
then
was
you'd be
just
the
like it
odd
wasn't
person
even in
out.
my head, yet for
Right.
the as a commitment. But I was beginning to, and my friend turned to the three of us. That person turned to us and said, hey, do you want to make an accountability group?
Yes.
And we both went, sure. And that began what we called three books. And we'd meet for an hour on in the early days. We had Skype way
Right.
back when. 2008 this was. Um, and we used Adobe collaboration tools to share our documents. I mean, Google Docs didn't exist yet. And we each got 20 minutes of critique, reading, and my friends were fabulous. They would sort of say da 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 da, and I would take it in and I would rewrite. And that's how I got my book written. And it
Thank
came
you,
out.
ladies.
Yes, very important. I will say that three books became two books because one person left, and I still have a weekly meeting with that person. We just co-coaching, helping, so on and so forth. And the person who left did, in fact, finally write her book.
Oh,
Many,
okay. So
many
there
years.
were three books that came from the three books meeting.
Two books. One person didn't get her book written.
Oh, okay. I thought it was the one that left, but she did write her book.
The one who left got her book written
Okay.
eventually. The one who stayed never got her book written and kind of felt like the time. Anyway,
Yes.
um, so that's how I got my book written. And I was like, okay, I'm the author. I'm going to go out and preach and teach
I'm
and
legit now.
persuade
Yeah.
and all this. Not so fast. Not so fast. Because shared housing isn't going to make people feel sexy or beautiful or smarter or rich. I mean, it doesn't have that kind of sparkle for people so that they're, and what I found was true when I first started out, was that people just had this kind of people who started to think about shared housing were already feeling so broke that they couldn't imagine spending money
Yeah, I
for
hear
help, right? Things have changed a lot. COVID changed things tremendously because I think people living alone realized, oh,
this is
I
not
really
great.
am
Yeah.
alone. And of course, housing has become increasingly unaffordable and unsustainable and all of that. So things have changed. But
Yep.
initially, I wasn't able to sort of do it the way I was thinking. But in 2017, I had a realization for a lot of reasons that it really is social mission.
Mm.
So I created a nonprofit.
Oh,
And that changed things. That did change things. People had a different reaction to the work and understanding it. So I'll let you ask some questions so we can be conversational.
yeah. Well, I mean, so my big comment to that last part is that when you were saying, it's not sexy and people don't, feel like they're not rich or, whatever. Some people aren't looking for that. And that's my only comment about that because that's,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not looking to be rich. I'm just looking for community and possibility, really. I've said it a million times on the podcast. Like I can can tomatoes, no problem. It's just such a long, tedious process, and to have someone else to do it with makes all the difference. And so, like
absolutely.
sharing a home and sharing the projects, sharing the resources, and like you were saying, living with ease. It's
Living
just
with
like
ease.
it's peace. It's peace. That's what I want.
Yes, and comfort and
Yep.
connection and belonging and community and
Yeah. Those
all of
things.
those good things that do come from living in shared housing. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. As I said, I think things have changed and people are more open to it now than they used to be.
Right.
When I first started out, I would get I need my privacy.
Sure.
And to which I always say, your privacy is your room.
Yeah,
Hello,
absolutely.
you
Yeah, for
know.
sure. And I mean, also another comment just about the COVID thing. Like I've said this in the past, and I think this all the time. Like the most amazing thing about COVID is that now is that we have the technology. You know, we were separate from people, but you can still talk to people and see people. And thank goodness for Zoom because I don't know how people would have made it through. I mean, they did it 100 years ago, but I don't know how. Like, I can imagine so much depression and probably a lot of suicide and stuff like that. Like, just heavy, heavy feelings.
Yeah. Yeah. Zoom is astonishing. And oh, I wish I'd bought stock because um back to my three books era, I found Zoom and we used Zoom before you could schedule a meeting.
Hmm.
It was so bare bones, but it was so much better than Skype,
Right?
right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Zoom, it changes so much. Well, I mean, the fact that you and I can do this right now.
I know. Same. And so you're in Vermont.
I'm in Vermont.
Oh,
I love Vermont.
yay.
I moved here in 2005. I knew I wanted to come back to New England. That was a big push for me.
Same.
And huh?
Same.
Yeah. Welcome. Yeah, it's great. And actually Vermont kind of happened. I was thinking Western Massachusetts kind of stuff because I'd
Same.
been in Massachusetts. But what happened was I stopped in to see my cousin whose husband said his best friend rents an apartment in Brattleboro. And would I be interested? And I said, of course. And he called me 3 weeks later and said, they're kicking their tenant out, call them. So I literally rented it sight unseen. I trusted my cousin. She'd seen the space. She said, it's fine. I said, okay, I'm taking it.
That's
And
very
so
well.
once I got here, I was like, oh, of course, Vermont's the dream. It's always been the dream. So I'm in southern Vermont. I'm kind of near the southeast corner. So it's 2 hours to Boston, 3.5 to New York. So there are people in further north who think it's not really Vermont down here.
I
But I think
mean,
it's Vermont. It's beautiful.
yeah. Oh
Beautiful and
gosh.
country.
I'm
Mm.
dreaming. I'm dreaming about it. Hmm.
Yeah.
And so the book is, tell us about the book.
So the book is called Sharing Housing, a guidebook for finding and keeping good housemates. And it is quite literally the selection process, a whole step by step. What do you do first? What do you do second? How do you pay attention to this? How do you pay attention to that? And I've had people who say, yeah, okay, so what's new? And then I've had people say, oh, there's so much in here I never would have thought of. So, um, and then I created an interviewing guide to go with it. That
Oh,
has
nice.
a choice questionnaire in it that is designed to help people have the important conversations.
Hmm?
So what my take on all of this is that every bad housemate story I have ever heard comes from an inefficient, ineffective, or non-existent selection process, right? I was just looking at some old stuff I was reading. I was reading today some old stuff that I'd written, and yeah, I was talking about how the things people miss, the housemate who has a girlfriend or boyfriend who ends up spending time in the house,
Makes
and
you
there's
feel
no
uncomfortable.
conversation about the fact that this person's become a housemate.
Ah, yep.
Or, the person who says, my best friend's sister needs a place to stay. Or, and things happen like that, and people don't sort of catch that moment and go, wait, let's talk about what this really means. How long is she staying? Is she paying rent? Is she, things like that. So people get themselves into those kinds of troubles. But if you do a thorough conversation and selection process ahead of time,
Right. Not on move-in day.
not move-in day, no. And what's really important about this is that until you have an agreement to live together, the power balance is equivalent, which
Mm,
is to say, okay, so I think of there's a householder and a home seeker, okay? And the householder might actually own the house or might be renting and have the lease, might whatever, right? The home seeker is looking for a place to live.
mm,
When they're in this conversation before they've agreed together, they have equal power.
mm-hmm.
The householder wants to have somebody move in. The home seeker wants to be able to move in, but both people want to be smart and make sure that it's a fit. So, for instance, I do have a housemate right now, and he moved in April. So it's been 7 months. And one in the process, I used Craigslist. Who knew? I was like, I can't believe I'm using Craigslist, but I used Craigslist. Craigslist has the great advantage that you are anonymous until you choose to share your contact
Okay.
information. This is a real benefit because that means that anyway. So my housemate saw my ad. We had a little back and forth by email. I was checking to make sure that we understood the must-haves and the can't live withs. Those are the essential guardrails for
Mm-hmm.
each person. But he passed those, no red flags. So we got on the phone and we were talking and checking. And he said, wait, what's this thing about no TV? This might be a deal breaker.
Okay.
And I said, I don't like the sound of TV. I don't like it in my common spaces. I just don't like it. He said, how do you feel about sports? And I said, what kind of sports? He said, football and golf. I said, oh, that's fine. And that why? Because my now deceased partner, who died 2 years ago, which is part of my story here, that's what he watched.
Okay.
Literally. He didn't watch baseball, hockey, basketball, tennis. He watched football and golf. And here was this
Wow.
potential housemate, and that's what he wanted to watch. And I was just like, oh, I
That would be
spent,
familiar.
it's familiar. I know it. And oh, by the way, it's great for knitting.
Yes.
It's great for knitting. And
Yeah.
what has happened is it turns out he's a real football buff. And about 6 weeks ago, as the weather was getting chilly, I said to him, he put a TV in his room right away, you know. Um, but I have one upstairs because my partner had one, and so I kept it and can watch movies, whatever. And I said to the housemate, I said, I'd probably be okay with football upstairs with the fire going because there's a wood stove right next to it. And this is what's happening, you know. And oh, it's Saturday night and Sunday night and Monday night and Thursday night. I'll be happy when football season's over, but he's happy, and that's fine with me, right? This is the give and take that you do.
I mean, do you have like hours that are okay for, I mean, I'm just curious.
Yeah, go ahead. These are great questions.
I mean, as far as like the sports, because I would be like, I'm not watching 7 hours of football. I'm not, I can't.
Oh,
Like,
I can leave the room.
true
You know,
story.
I'm downstairs right now. I'm in my office. I have
Mhm.
my own bedroom. I have
Yeah.
there's space.
But like a common room where there's a TV, that type of thing, granted, I mean, you can leave, but at the same time, I'd be like, I am on my couch. I am cuddled up, but I am done with this.
That's interesting. We'll see. We'll see. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, here we are in November, but I'm going away next weekend, so I'll be doing other things.
Right.
Um,
I mean, winters are long and they're dark.
Winters are long and dark. We have had a conversation about watching movies, which I would do.
Oh, right. Oh my goodness. I would be like, just everyone have their own TV in their own room. Like, I don't,
And
I hate the
I
whole
want,
like,
I want the company. I want the
yeah.
interaction.
Oh,
I want the
absolutely. But there's
uh,
no interaction when there's a TV, like, right?
oh, but if you're watching a TV series, this is what my partner and I have done in the past. If we go through, then we end up talking about the characters, or talking about the plot line, or it's
Mhm.
just another piece like that. Um, yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether I get tired of it. But I came home one night early evening, and he had the news on, and I was kind of like, oh, I forget exactly what I said, but I said something. He knew
This
I
is
wasn't.
not football.
I forget what I said, but
Yeah.
he sort of went, "It's the news," and I was like, "Yeah, no." I
That was not
watch
on the
TV
approved
news.
list of
You know,
two.
I happen to know because of other work I've done that the amount of content in a half an hour TV news show is equivalent to half a page of newsprint.
Oof. Yeah.
There's a reason why we're in as much trouble as we're in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So could you give a couple of suggestions what someone could hypothetically, if someone was looking into something like this?
Oh, asking for a friend.
No one specific.
Sure. Where are you going? What's the question?
Oh, I'm just like any particular like specific questions that you would recommend, like really important ones.
Yeah. So the place that I think everybody needs to start is really and truly with a self-assessment, which is to say, what must you have in your home to make it comfortable for you? What can't you live with? And those, when I teach this, I try to make sure people understand that they're not supposed to come up with them just to have them.
Hmm.
They're supposed to acknowledge who they are and
Okay.
what's important to them in how they live, because those are guardrails. So my TV thing is how I learned this one. When I was living in the Boston area in that house that I lived in for 8 years, apartment. Um, the first year, my two friends, I went away for a month and I came back and they weren't talking to each other. And they would just sit in front of the TV every night.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I hated it. So when they moved out, they both moved out in the same month.
No
I
more
decided
TV.
no TV, no TV. And in those days, you could do an ad. The cheapest ad was 27 words in the local leftist paper. And so I'd have this line, no TV. And the result was that so it was a three-person house, and I would have usually be looking with one other person, right? Um, we would get 8 or 9 phone calls when we had an ad, and one of those people would move in. There were group houses around that were like coping with 70 and 80 applications for a space, right?
Yeah.
And
So if
it
you're super
just
specific, it like niches down and yeah.
yeah. And I remember one of the people who lived with us, I remember her saying to me somewhere, just by the by, when I saw the ad, I was like, oh, I can live there, right? Because it attracted her.
Hmm.
It weeded out the people who weren't going to be happy, but it found the people who would be happy. So must-haves and can't live with are so fundamental. And most people skip that place. They think they have to write an ad that's going to be universally attractive. And I say, no, no, no. You're looking for a right person
Hmm.
or people,
Hmm.
but you're not looking for the universe. You're
Just
looking for
anyone.
a
Yeah.
specific person who's going to be able to move in. So that's like the almost the secret sauce of the whole thing, as far as I'm concerned. But
Right.
from there, um, making sure that you, you, it's kind of a combination of making sure you're compatible enough in how you live in your home that you're going to be comfortable. And those are nitty-gritty stuff: cleanliness, neatness, kitchen use, routines, guests, tasks, noise, and bills.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
If you have clarity and agreement on how those are, you can live together. If it's nice if you like and respect each other as well.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
It's not necessary. I mean, you can be ships at night, but I
Well, I
mean,
mean, yeah, the whole point is community, right?
right. And it can be tricky. I mean, so um, you know, cleanliness. I'll just take my first one off the top of my head. Some people are real neat freaks, are clean freaks,
Yep.
right? No dust ever. And some people never see the dust balls. The two of them should not live together because they're not going to be
For
happy,
sure.
right? Um, I have a story I tell a lot about somebody who interviewed me once who said, I tried living in shared housing after my divorce. It didn't work out. I asked whether I could interview her about that. This was on a
Hmm.
live radio show. And she said, sure. Well, it turned out that it was a lovely house. She loved the location. She loved her room. She liked the people. I mean, she kind of fell in love with it. She noticed dirty dishes in the sink and decided she could live with it.
That's a yeah, that's a game changer.
She couldn't, but she hadn't done the assessment ahead of time to realize that that was a must-have for her. And so it became a, a source of tension because once she joined the household, she thought she had a right to her standard.
Mm,
But of course, she's the newcomer. So the
right.
household's like, this is who we are. No, don't get to make new rules on us. So,
Got it.
so it makes real sense to get to that clarity and agreement about those things ahead of time because you
Mm,
can also negotiate.
right.
Like Michael and
After
I,
the fact.
well, my example with my housemate,
Right.
right? That was during our interview.
Okay.
And I'm like, yeah, I can handle football and golf, right?
But if
So
but if you are not okay with those, you would just say that has to be in your room. Like I just no TV.
if it had not been okay with me, it might have been a deal breaker.
Hmm.
It might have been a deal breaker. I mean,
Right.
he said it. And you have to be willing to let it go. You have to be not go, oh, I guess I could live with it.
Hmm.
Because if it's a must have or a can't live with, you're not going to be happy long term. Okay.
Right. And can I ask you on that with this thread, like do you sign things?
No,
It doesn't go in writing. You're just very specific and it's a verbal contract basically.
personally, that's what I've always done. I know that there are people who really like like to see things documented. And so I think it's situational for different people.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think it's a bad idea to write it down. I just never have.
Yeah. Well, I would
But
think that if it's not written down, if things don't work out, you're not stuck.
right,
Because if it's just like a personality thing, you can't say no. I mean, if it's a verbal thing, you can say, this is just really not working,
right.
and there's nothing tying anyone to anything.
Bingo.
Got it.
Bingo.
Okay.
Bingo. I have never done leases or that kind of stuff, partly because I think that this is such a private arrangement, actually. I've
Hmm.
started using that word, that getting the legal system in it is somehow muddies the waters in a way.
Isn't that
Um,
interesting? I mean, it makes sense. I get that.
yeah,
It's a more personal situation, really. I mean, because
exactly.
it's just like sharing, but um, not really sure where my words are going to go with that, but like sh sharing would not warrant paperwork.
Yeah, somehow something like that. Um, I do want to say that um, it is one of my principles. So I started thinking about, well, what makes housing work? What makes shared housing work? And I basically came up with the idea that there are four guidelines,
Oh,
just four. First one is the golden rule that you adapt for each other. You've taken care of the big stuff in your interview. You know that you're okay on the big stuff.
mm-hmm.
But beyond that, as you get to know each other, as you get to live together, you adapt to help each other be comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, for instance, it would not have made me feel comfortable to insist that my housemate only watch his football downstairs. That would have made me uncomfortable in an interesting way.
Okay.
But I'm sort of coming up with that as an example off the top of my head.
Yeah.
We've been using it. Um, so being able to flex and adapt your behavior if your housemate says, oh, this doesn't work for me, is a good thing to do. And oh, by the way, every single major religion talks about that as the primary thing you should be doing in the world. Um, the second principle is what I call do it while it's easy.
Huh.
And it's an Annamarie formulation, and it's called speak up when something is a little nit before it becomes a big one.
Okay. Don't let things build up.
Don't let things build up. That the chances are that the little nit is something that your housemate can change because of principle number one,
Right. Right.
right? Um, or and it can change, or even just speaking it may change it for yourself. So do it while it's easy. Really important communication skill, good relationship skill. A third principle is your room is your own. There is no reason why your housemate should be in your room at any point except by your invitation. And that's really important. That's how people have privacy in
Hmm.
group settings and
Sure.
shared housing settings. And my fourth principle, this one was given to me by my one of my former housemates when he interviewed me back in that place in Boston area. He interviewed with me, and right at the end of the interview, he said to me, "And we have an incest taboo, right?" And I went,
What?
"Huh?"
Wait. What?
Like, what? And I said, "Oh, yeah. Oh, okay." It was so helpful.
Huh.
It was so helpful. We were in our 30s. We were both single. We got to be very intimate friends in the sense that we knew a lot about each other's lives and work and family and so on. And it would have been very confusing to me.
For sure.
And I will say that I spoke this principle to my current housemate when we were on the telephone. Da 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 da. I do the sharing housing thing. I've got some principles. One of them is the incest taboo. And he goes, "What?" And I kind of
Yeah.
said, um, "So you and me living together, we're like brother and sister?" And he goes, "Oh, yeah, 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 yeah." Just like that. Made me feel so relaxed and comfortable,
Got it.
right?
Yeah.
And I think it's a really important principle for
Yeah, yeah. Guideline.
any kind of sexual attraction, people, so on, living together because you do get close. And the problem with sleeping with your housemate is you are instantly married because you're already living together. You can't
Mhm.
even date. You can't separate. You can't go away, you know? So I actually, when I was writing my book, I found out that there was a couple who had met in a co-op house in
Mhm.
Boston, and they started taking a shine to each other. And she moved out so they could date. Now they're married.
All right.
You know, so I think it's a really important principle, and it needs to be spoken,
Right.
and so that it's clear what's happening for
Right.
everyone. But
Oh,
that's it. Those are the four.
I kind of
The
like that.
rest of it,
I
the
mean,
rest of it,
they seem like pretty simple things.
right?
Very not necessarily easy, but simple. They're easy to understand.
Yeah, yeah.
Things get confusing, and so it's good to have those guidelines.
Yeah, well, that's the idea. And sometimes I catch myself and go, Annamarie, do it while it's easy. I'm not
Right?
always the best myself at all.
Yeah.
As you know.
Oh no, I'm terrible at that, but that's something that you have to work on. You have to make happen when you're sharing. I actually lived with 4 or 5 friends when I was in my 20s
Hmm.
for a little bit, and it was fun actually. But I was all it was, it was a whole different it was a whole lifetime ago.
It was a lifetime ago. And the thing is that it's so interesting how different life can be. I mean, so here I am. I'm in this house. I bought this house 19 years ago with my then partner. Did not plan on doing the shared housing thing, or I might have bought a bigger house, different house.
Well, you were also not planning on him going away.
Correcto. Um, but so where was I going with this? Hmm.
You bought the
Oh,
house
I
19
know,
years
I know,
ago.
I know, I know what it was. So after he died, I'm living alone for the first time in forever,
Mm,
in forever, right? Um, and I don't like it. I really clear, and I would have, and I think perhaps people listening might recognize this. I would have these moments, these times. I would walk through the front door, and I'd think, okay, when's the next time I'm going to see somebody?
Saturday mornings for
Uh,
me.
right? And then the work it takes to have a social connection. Who am I going to call to have lunch, breakfast? Who can I call? Oh, and then the number of texts to find a time and a date. I text, emails, phone call. It's just
A lot of back and forth, yeah.
a lot of back and forth. We and people in our world now are talking about the lack of what we call third spaces. You heard this one?
Third spaces.
Yeah. Home is the first space, work is the second space. third spaces. Where do you get to go hang out?
Okay.
We don't have, we as a society, we don't have good places for people to hang,
True.
to just show up and visit with people.
Right. Well, I mean, it used to be like I know when I was younger, we could do like I was younger, we would do like Denny's at like 11
Yes.
p.m. or something like that, something inexpensive, but you can be social and it's not like super um formal. Um but I mean that like the other option these days is, a restaurant or like a bar. You can't go to
Cost
concerts
money.
because concerts are super expensive and loud. You can't have a conversation. Yeah.
Yeah. And everything costs money. There's no, where do you
Yep.
just hang?
Yep.
It's very hard.
Yeah.
Very hard in our society. So I really want people to live in shared housing.
I'm down. Absolutely. Um, okay, so the book is a guideline for interviewing, basically, for
It's no,
for
the
choosing.
book it teaches a whole process from the beginning of thinking of you start thinking about it all the way to being able to say, hey, this works. Okay. The interviewing guide is a piece that I wrote just specifically for interviewing and also uh, for the multiple choice question thing.
Got it.
And so this is just teaching people how to select somebody that they can live with, right?
Okay.
Um, I haven't said this yet, but every time I talk about what are the benefits of living in shared housing, I talk about money, companionship, help,
Mm-hmm.
sustainability, and whole person health.
Mm-hmm.
Sustainability pieces, it's easy to say, there's not a whole lot in it, but it's really important, right?
Yeah, for
You're
sure.
using less of the earth's resources because you're under a roof. You only need one toaster, one iron, one Cuisinart, one
Right.
fill in the blank. And sometimes people who live in co-op houses with more than one, two people can do car sharing too.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it makes for a much more sustainable way to live.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh. It sounds like the perfect situation. I mean, I am also of a certain age, Anna Marie.
Hmm.
And the divorce rate is really high, and so there are a
Yes.
lot of single people. I mean, that's why I left Maine because Maine is no longer a single income state, and I'm a single income. And I
Uh-huh.
had these guys. So it's not like I could just, get a random apartment anywhere.
Right.
No one's gonna rent to someone with chickens. And most people won't rent to somebody who has a dog or cats.
Yeah, that's right.
So my options were limited, and I think that, I hear more and more that this is the situation for so many people, and we know that there's a housing crisis, and so it seems like it would be a super helpful solution. We need more of that. We need, we need more people to open up their homes, but we also need more. So something that I've been finding in my search, because everyone knows I'm looking to move back to New England, but there are so many regulations
Mm,
that you can. I mean, looking to buy a farm, this is what like you can buy a farm for less money because it's protected, but then the protected part that you can't live there or you can't have how you can't add housing. And so
right.
that's like a super tricky thing. So it seems like there are specific areas that have less regulation, it's more open.
Hmm.
And then how do you start something like that? And that's you've bought houses that have extra bedrooms, I think, right?
Right. Right.
And so
Right.
that's a different
And
situation.
I haven't tried to add the farming piece to it.
Right.
The farming piece is is a more difficult piece, I am sure, because I mean I see it around here. People
Yeah,
buy, people around me have farms and
right.
people have chickens.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the land, the when you're buying land with a house on it,
Yeah,
it's very tricky because it's either super duper expensive or um pretty
yeah,
much it's super duper expensive.
pretty much super duper expensive, right?
But I know like there's a story about a lady in Texas who bought this huge plot of land and is having, you know, other ladies move in with their tiny homes
Yeah,
or tents
that's
or
nice for
whatever.
Texas. Yeah, that was a good piece. That I congratulations to the author who the journalist who found that. That was a really good piece. And of course, tiny houses can work in Texas, but I don't think would work in New England very
Right.
well.
Well, I mean, again, there are a lot of places in New England that don't allow tiny homes,
Yeah, yeah,
which is yucky. But and so um I have a friend, Debbie, who she lives in Maine and most winters she'll like take off in her car, like just drive and she'll like car camp. Um and across the country her daughter lives in California. So it's just like, wandering around. There are communities, of course, of nomad people, and
yep.
so she hangs out with them, which is great. And they're in the she was telling me I saw her last A- April, March. I forget when I saw her. It was really exciting though, because I don't see people that I know. Um, so she said south of Virginia, where I am, um, it's a lot easier to just like pull over at a rest area or whatever and sleep for the night. And in the Midwest, like there are just ghost towns. Like there are just open areas. You can do whatever you want. No one's gonna say anything. But like Virginia North, people will pull over and be like, you can't stay here.
Right.
But so it's just, as you go up north, um, there are just so many regulations that it makes it really hard to there are less there's less flexibility for uh new arrangements, I guess.
Yeah, this is true. I mean, I think there's more zoning, more, yeah,
Yeah.
towns deciding how they want to use their land, you have their land used. Part of it's population pressure. There's just
Yeah.
more of us, as you say. And but it's also true that um the housing world is waking up to the fact that um zoning has become so restrictive that it's created this housing crisis that we're partially created this.
Yes. Yeah.
So they're looking, like I know in Vermont people, they're looking at like how do we undo some of these regulations? How do
Thank
we allow
goodness.
for more density? How do we allow? But yeah, I mean, you're reminding me about an email I haven't reacted to, and I just realized this. I've had it for a while.
You're
Uh,
welcome.
of a couple where they've decided they're selling they got together. She was in North Carolina, he was in Vermont. They went back and forth some, and then they finally decided, and they got in touch with me because they were trying to figure out how to build more housing on the land to develop a intentional community, and they
Yeah.
couldn't get the town to agree to let them do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, those things do exist as issues.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I was thinking about, and I mean, this was something that was it was becoming really real for me until the financial part came up. So there was a 9 bedroom home in Western Mass that I was thinking I would turn it into a B and B, but not like all the rooms. So I was like, I could totally, have people stay with me. But it was like instantly it was more than I could afford. Plus it would be at least a couple 100,000 to, buy new windows because it had really old windows, and it needed
What town
heating.
was it in? Where was it?
It was in Blandford, Mass. So it was right off of I-90, close to New York,
Oh, okay, over there. Got
but
it.
like southern,
Yeah.
southwestern. But I mean, it's already been bought out from under me, not out from under me. I didn't really have a chance, I don't think, but just that I, the idea was it was becoming so real for me. And
Uh,
then, and then the cost, I was just like, it's one thing if I had other people, and that's where I'm sort of stuck with this shared housing thing
yeah.
that I feel like I need the other people before I get started because properties are so expensive that I can't buy something with land that I can grow food on.
So, I'm thinking I've got two contacts for you. We'll see.
Okay. We'll see. Okay, so this is fascinating, and note to self, Amy, get that book. I
Okay
because
then.
this is or maybe
I will say, as far as I know, I'm still the only person, the only source around for how do you do this?
yeah. I mean, I haven't not seen a lot of it, and I'm glad to know that you've seen the same sort of situation with the regulations and the zoning thing. Like
Oh yeah,
it seems I'm glad that Vermont is starting to look at it being the part of the problem.
yeah,
And of course in New England, like it's not like people can just live outside if they don't have a place to live. It's too dang cold or
yeah,
hot.
yeah. That's
Um,
that's right.
So hopefully everyone else will fall in line and be like, we need to open this up a little bit because look at all these people that are
We're
priced out of
working on
homes.
we're working on it, trying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm so glad that you connected with me.
I'm glad to have found you.
I'm
This is part
thrilled.
this is part of my effort. I just feel like I should be talking to more and more people because people just need to hear this idea
They need to hear the possibility and
and
the.
understand that it's a win-win
Yeah.
and they're not wrong. I mean, I think a lot of people have a little dream and they think, oh, it's just me. How could I possibly? And there are more people dreaming about this.
Hmm.
There really are.
It's true. I mean, there are a lot of people that are interested in this, but I mean, back to that same problem. Like, I don't want to live in Texas
Right.
or,
Right.
in the Midwest, and nothing against the Midwest, but like I don't
That's
have
not where
people
you want
there.
to be home.
I don't
Yeah.
have people there.
Right.
And so, that's just I guess that's my own problem that I want to be where it's really expensive. And there are lots of regulations, but maybe they'll open things up and make it easier for
Right.
but anyway, I love this. I'm so glad just to hear you say these words because like I said, this has been a dream of mine, and it just like how to make it happen is it's the sort of the missing piece.
Right.
And
Right.
so, um I I need to ask you because I ask everybody on the podcast, what does the
Okay.
word sustainability mean to you, Anna Marie?
Oh,
Oh.
it means so many things. Um, to me, it's the umbrella term for how we can live in a way that we're not abusing our world, and we abuse it.
Mhm.
And I have walked around saying, I wonder if the Genesis phrase, instead of saying, and God gave man dominion over the birds and the beasts and the so on and so forth, but rather care of
Mm.
how things might have evolved
Oh,
differently.
just that one word, that one phrase, and people just like take that and run with it.
Right.
Hmm.
It's for me, I mean, there's so many ways that we are unsustainable,
Yeah.
but the human spirit is strong, and may we win in the long run to having a sustainable world,
Yeah. Yeah.
an awakened world.
Right? Oh my goodness.
Don't
I
get me started.
I know, right? Same, I know. And I know some people are like, where do I even start? But I think that's beautiful. I think it's perfect. So if somebody wants to learn more, if they're interested in sharing housing, and they are like, I need to get that book, I need to learn more from Anna Marie, how can we find you?
All right. The website is sharinghousing.com.
Okay.
I also have a website which is sharinghousing.org, which is the nonprofit face, and eventually we're going to bring them together. But for now, sharinghousing.com. I've got a shop that's got books. I do a free Q&A once a month. People find out how to register for it by joining my newsletter list,
Oh, I
which
think I just did that.
oh, good. Now it's on the front page of my website, the newsletter list. And I teach a Zoom class. So far, I've been doing it twice a year, but it's 4 sessions, and it just teaches the process. I have an online class that teaches the process. This stuff's not rocket science, but sometimes people learn by looking at videos online. Sometimes people like to have a conversation with other participants, or sometimes people want to read by themselves.
Hmm.
I'm just trying to find all kinds of ways for people to feel empowered to find good housemates for themselves.
Oh, that's so important. And I mean, I love that you said, first do a self-assessment. That's like, that's going to be a game changer for everyone, I think. What you need to have, what you must have, and then what can't you live with. So you just need to put your foot down and say, this is
This is this is
non-negotiable.
this is not negotiable for me,
If
and
if that doesn't work for you, then this isn't going to work for us.
right, right.
Okay. I mean, is there any other message that we neglected to talk about that you want to?
Nope, I just, I will feel very successful. This will never happen in my lifetime. When people look at each other, look at somebody and go, "Why do you live alone?"
Mm,
Right? Real
right.
game changer. Real
Yeah.
game.
I mean, I
But
imagine that it would, I mean, just having people around is it's so good for the soul just to have, sometimes to have voices, to have someone do stuff with, someone.
absolutely.
Like, I know one of the things that I always think about is, if I need to go away, I've got a pet sitter. And vice
Exactly.
versa, that type of thing. And so that was another thing that I was thinking while you were talking. I was like, what if someone is an animal lover and they're like, I'm just sitting? I mean, for me, that would be like, as long as they get along with mine.
Right.
But then some people would be like, I mean, I've had so many people in Virginia here that are like, oh, I'm allergic to cats. Oh, I'm allergic to dogs. I'm like, what? What?
Yeah.
I've never
I
met
will
so many
say
people with pet allergies.
current housemate is allergic to cats. It makes me very sad. I don't have a cat anymore right now. And my dog died 3 weeks after he moved in. He's a
Oh,
dog lover, so we'll have something happening. But he's actually waiting for me to feed me dinner.
oh, nice. Oh, that's such a perk.
It is such a perk.
That's a win if I ever met one.
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
I'm I'm pretty lucky. I just keep wondering when something's gonna go foul, but so far so good.
Well, because you're so successful and you've got this down. I mean, you put down your what you must have and what you can't live with, and that's understood.
Yep. Yep.
Excellent.
And we found each other. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And you and I found each other. So this
Yes.
is a good thing too.
Yes.
And we'll stay in touch.
Yes,
Do I have a
absolutely.
direct email for you?
Sure. I mean,
Okay.
I'll get it to you, no problem.
Okay.
So Annamarie Pluhar, you guys check her out at sharinghousing.com or sharinghousing.org. Buy the book if you're interested. we can take classes together and learn all about this, and maybe we'll live together. Who knows?
There you go. There you go. All
Thank
right.
you so much,
Thank you.
Annamarie.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yay. I just want to take a second to thank my guest again for speaking with me and sharing such great information. I love having these conversations with folks. I also want to thank Buzzsprout for hosting the podcast, for Jane Bolduck and her music genius, for Becca Coffron and her award-winning artwork. And thank you for listening. I appreciate that so much. Please check out the show notes for any links and extra information. And if you would like to follow my guest and find out more about them, I'm sure they would love the follow. And if you don't mind leaving a rating or review wherever you're listening, and just help to get this podcast in front of new eyes, that would be amazing. I would really love that. And feel free to reach out to me on the socials and let me know what you're thinking. And if you would like to be a guest on the podcast, please let me know that. I would love to have a conversation with you about sustainability. All right. Thank you again. I hope you have a great rest of the week.
There'll come a day, my mama told me, when I find love to have and hold me, a heart that's strong and so sincere. Just tell me, how do I get there from here? Oh, tell me, how do I get there from here? 'Cause here and now I'm so far down that mercy's bound to find me. We'll find a way to soothe the sickness. We'll heal the hate with sweet forgiveness. Wages of war will disappear. Just tell me, how do I get there from here? I wonder, how do I get there from here? Yeah, 'cause here and now I'm so far down that mercy's bound to find me. When that state of grace has finally found me, well, there'll be music, ooh, and good friends around me, yeah. And I'll just smile through happy tears and wonder,